Hello, Halton. Hello, everybody. Great to see so many out. Hello, Milton. Hello, Halton Hills. Hello, Burlington. Hello, Oakville. Thanks for coming out through some of the finest Canadian weather that you can imagine. Hope you're getting warmed up. And I wanted to welcome you. I wanted to welcome you to a very special, very exciting evening with the Prime Minister of Canada. My name's John Oliver. I'm Member of Parliament for Oakville, and I'm co-hosting tonight. I wanted to begin with an acknowledgement that we are gathered tonight on the lands of the traditional lands of the Mississauga of the Credit. I also want to say a huge thank you to the Halton District School Board for hosting the event here tonight. Now, I have an interesting tidbit for you. The very last time a sitting Prime Minister visited a high school in Halton was in 1974, and it was Prime Minister Pierre-Elliott Trudeau. I'm having a major deja vu moment here. And that was down at Oakville at Blakelock. I also want to say a huge thank you. We're at the Craig Kielburger Secondary School, and the staff have helped organize this event. They're in the black and gray Spartan sweatshirts. I just want to, if you could put your hands up, everybody who helped tonight, let's say a big Halton thank you. You guys have been great. We got 1,200 people in record time for this event tonight. Our government is absolutely committed to helping hardworking middle-class Canadians. Since forming government, over 800,000 jobs have been created across Canada. Our economy is strong, and our unemployment rate is at historic lows. And we're investing. We're investing in things like special skills training, infrastructure, the environment, and housing. We're investing across Canada, and we're investing right here in Halton. But we know there's more to be done. We know that there's more can be done to help Canadians, and that's why the Prime Minister is traveling across Canada to hear firsthand from people just like yourselves gathered here tonight. He's here to listen and to communicate with you. I'm going to ask, this is Halton. We're a respectful four communities, so let's have a very respectful dialogue with the Prime Minister when he's here. He wants to hear your questions, and he wants to answer them for you. So ask anything, but let's be respectful. I would now like to introduce my co-host, Pam Demoff. Pam is a colleague and a great friend. She's the Member of Parliament for Oakville North Burlington. Pam, it's a super honor to serve beside you and serve Halton with you. And I believe you're going to introduce the Prime Minister.
Thanks so much, John. So, thank all of you for being here. You know, as I look around the room and I see all these young people in the room, I'm reminded that when I was a student, I went to an event much like this, and I saw Pierre Trudeau speak. I wasn't interested in politics before that, but I was afterwards, and I volunteered in elections, and here I am now, a Member of Parliament for Oakville North Burlington, and I really hope that some of you young people, what you hear tonight, it inspires you to get involved in your community and really make a difference in our lives here in Halton. You know, we're here in a high school, and I can't help but think of the qualities of a teacher, which is what our Prime Minister used to do. Those qualities of a teacher that he brings to the job that he has now. Being organized, disciplined, being able to resolve conflicts, but most importantly, to listen and to work as part of a team. And I'm incredibly proud to be part of a team, Team Trudeau, but also a Team Halton, with my friend and colleague John Oliver, Karina Gould, Minister of Democratic Institutions and Member of Parliament for Burlington, and our newest member of Team Halton, Adam Van Couverden. So I know you're not here to hear me speak, so it gives me great pleasure. Please join me in welcoming Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
Thank you, Pam, for those kind words. Thank you, John, for your welcome here tonight, both of you. And thank you all for coming out tonight. It's an extraordinary pleasure to be here tonight in what fundamentally is an exercise in democracy. This is how democracy should work. People should be able to come out and ask questions of their representatives, hear from them directly on where we're going as a community, as a country, how we're going to deal with big issues that matter to you, how we're going to respond to some of the challenges that we're all feeling coming at us down the pipes in the coming years. So these are the kinds of things we're going to be talking about tonight. And I really want to say that every time I come out to one of these town halls across the country, I'm always touched by how many people choose to come out to participate in these exercises. This is something that I know many of you will have questions. A lot of you don't have questions, just want to be part of seeing how democracy should work, how we should be able to answer and respond to important questions that citizens have. One of the challenges as a government is always, particularly in a country as big and diverse as Canada, keeping connected to people in the decisions we make, understanding their fears, their concerns, their hopes, their dreams, the issues that come up for them, and the things they want to find answers for. Of course, social media can be good for that. Door knocking by candidates is good for that. Some of the phone calls I make and the ways I'm trying to get out across the country to meet as many people as possible. But these town halls, for me, are a really great way to hear directly from you and of the kinds of things that you're preoccupied with. But they're also a really good opportunity for each of you to hear what your neighbors might be preoccupied with, what other people in your community have. Maybe some of them are the same as your issues. Maybe they're completely different from your issues. And one of the things that inevitably will come up is someone will say some things that you disagree with. And that's really important, that we as a strong and diverse society understand that people having different opinions from each other is part of how we figure out what the right solutions are moving forward when we actually are listening and learning to each other. And the only thing I'm really going to ask tonight is that we be respectful of each other. That we be respectful of the people asking the questions. And I'm going to go around and pick people at random to ask those questions. And those people who get picked, please respect their ability to actually ask questions that all of us want to hear. So I'm really looking forward to this. Bien sûr, parce qu'on est un pays bilingue et la défense des minorités de langues officielles à travers le pays nous est très important. Il y a de la traduction simultanée. There's also American Sign Language interpretation. I will answer the questions asked of me in whichever official language they are asked in, and there is simultaneous translation for people who want to avail themselves of it. But other than that, I'm really looking forward for the next hour and a half or so to take as many questions as I can. So with that, let's just dig into it, and I'll start with someone from this section right here. You, sir. Yep, they're coming with the mic.
Hi, Justin. I mean,
Hi there.
Prime Minister.
No, you can call me Justin. It's all good.
Okay.
That's how you started in the right tone.
Well, thank you for picking me to be the first person to ask you questions. My name is Ray, and as we know, Canada is a land of immigrants. Myself, I came from China, and I love this country. I think it's the best country in the world. You guys agree? So my question is, as you probably know, a recent case with Huawei, and the relationship with China has become more intense. So just wondering what your thoughts are and how we're gonna proceed from here, and to maintain a good relationship with China.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ray, for that question. And it's a very topical issue that has a couple of different elements to it. First of all, you mentioned Huawei. We know we're moving towards Right now, our cellular systems are all on 4G. We're moving towards 5G, which will be significantly more connected, significantly more powerful, but also potentially significantly more vulnerable around security concerns. And that's why we're making sure that our security experts are working with experts around the world to evaluate how we're going to move forward in a way that will ensure that we can continue to keep Canadians safe, make sure that our data is safe, make sure that our secure communications are secure, but also make sure that we're taking on the best technology in the world at affordable prices. And navigating that in a responsible way is something that you can't really approach with a political mindset. You have to approach with a thoughtful, fact-based, evidence-based mindset, and that's why we are trusting our national security and intelligence agencies to do the analyses, our experts and communications experts to do the analyses necessary to make recommendations on how we move forward in that way, and with which providers and who can be part of Canada's 5G network. That's on one side of things. The other issue that has come up recently with China is the situation where 2 Canadians have been detained in China on national security charges. They were detained immediately after a Chinese citizen, a prominent Chinese citizen, was detained in Vancouver on an extradition order from the United States. Now, we have an extradition treaty with the United States, like we do with all sorts of different countries around the world. And along the terms of those treaties, if someone commits a crime that would be a crime in Canada, we try them in our justice system and make a determination based on our independent, rigorous justice system on whether or not to extradite them to the United States. This is a process that is steeped in and anchored in the rule of law and the independent justice system that Canada has. Now, the Chinese government has been asking us to release that prominent Chinese citizen and interfere with the functioning of our independent judiciary. Now, different countries do things differently, but in Canada, politicians don't get to weigh in on court proceedings. We have a judiciary that is independent of political pressures and political processes, and that's a good thing. And it is something that, quite frankly, is a cornerstone of Canada, of our laws and our values, but it's also a cornerstone of an awful lot of countries around the world who are friends and allies. And while China has been putting pressure on us to release their citizen this way and detaining somewhat arbitrarily our own 2 citizens, we have been talking with our friends and allies around the world, a broad range of countries, from our traditional allies to less likely allies, who are all very much in agreement, many of them privately, many of them publicly, that standing up for the rule of law, standing up for the safety of Canadians, those 2 Canadians detained right now, and any other Canadians who happen to travel to China when there might be a challenge in diplomacy or political relationship between Canada and China. We need to make sure that China understands that Canada is going to unequivocally stand up for the rule of law, respect our international treaties and obligations, and always put the safety of Canadians first. That is where we stand. But of course, we don't want to escalate. We recognize China is an extremely important and growing economy, a significant player on the world stage. We look forward to continuing to trade with China, but we need the Chinese authorities to understand that when it comes to the rule of law, Canada and an awful lot of other countries will stand firm regardless of the political pressures they put on us. Thank you very much, Ray, for that question. Yes, sir.
Hello, Prime Minister. Thank you very much for being here with us. I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I'll just ask the question quickly. What's your vision regarding renewable energy in Canada? Because I see it as an excellent, there's a lot of future for it, and the long-term benefits kind of outweigh the costs in the short term. So I want to, and I know with the Paris Climate Agreement and whatnot, I feel like, how do you see the vision for it?
No, thank you. It's a great question. And one that is coming up more and more often because we understand that the future we're building, the jobs that we're going to be having in the coming decades, the jobs our kids will be doing, the kind of societies and communities we want to have are going to have to be more efficient, cleaner, more based on renewable energies than on fossil fuels, which right now power much of our economy. We're not going to move off of fossil fuels today or tomorrow, but we will want to get off of them or reduce them massively in our use, and the way we do that is by developing renewable energies, more renewable resources. Canada, in terms of its electricity, is already about 80% renewable because of all the hydro that we have across the country, but there's much more we need to do, particularly when it comes to transportation, particularly when it comes to, in certain areas, to heating our homes. These are things that we need to move forward on. So we are, as a government, investing massively in renewable energies. We are investing in clean technology and innovation and science and research that's going to bring us towards a lower carbon economy. We're also moving to put a price on pollution. We know that the pollution that causes climate change is such a problem right now because that pollution has always been free, or for much of Canada's history, and certainly in most places across Canada, it has been free to pollute. So we've said, let's put a price on that pollution so that people pollute less, but at the same time, we have to focus on making that affordable for Canadians, which is why at the same time as we're putting a price on pollution, in the places we're putting a price on pollution because they don't have a robust enough climate plan, we are actually giving money directly to families to more than completely offset the cost of the price on pollution. That is our approach because we know that the more we can encourage and incent investments in newer technologies, in better ways of doing things, to move us towards more renewable energies, to move us towards a more efficient, cleaner economy, the better off we're all going to be, both in fighting climate change and preparing for the economy of the future, while we keep at the center of it all, making things affordable for regular families. So that's our approach on fighting climate change.